What's good? What's good, people? I hope you guys are well. Let me just get this link in there. I hope you guys are well. Everything's good. Okay, so let's get in. Let's start talking about this Terence Crawford, Shawn Porter fight. I'm sorry, guys, my connection's a little bit off at the minute. I don't know what's up. So I'm trying to do this the best I can, but sometimes my connection's off. I don't know what's up with the Wi-Fi. But I'm gonna try doing this to the best I can. If it does go off, I'm sorry. I thought I'd give it a last try, but I've had some issues with the connection. Um, yeah, so Crawford stopped um, stopped Spence. Uh, what did you guys? Sorry, stopped Porter. What did you guys make of the fight? Smash the like button to everybody in the live stream. I'd appreciate if you can smash the like button. But yeah, what did you guys make of the? What did you guys make of the fight? How did you see it? What's cracking, Steven? What's going on, Steven? You good? Yeah, all good, man. All good. All good. I know you're not happy. What's going on, Nelson? Hope you're good, Nelson. Guys, I've left the link. If you want to come on, you can come on. I've left the link in the chat. So if you want to come on and have a chat, we can talk. We can chop it up. Okay, let's let's talk some boxing. Um, yeah, I've left the link in the chat, guys. If you want to come on, the links on the chat. Steven's in the house. What's going on, Steve? What's good, Steve? You there?
What's up, man?
Yeah, good, man. Good. How are you?
I'm chilling, man. Chilling. How's everything going with you?
Yeah, good, man. Good, good, good. Just trying to recollect what we saw yesterday. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's been a lot going on, man. Boxing worlds and is talking about this fight, man, and what they and I seen some of your commentary earlier, and I've been going at it with a couple of guys
Mm.
on your forum and other forums as well. Um, and I just got it's a lot to talk about. It's a lot to take from it.
Mm. Yeah. To be honest, what did you make of it, man? I know you were not happy with the stoppage and stuff. Um,
Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah.
Go
Go
ahead.
on, go on, go on, go on. Obviously, I want to know your opinion on it.
Okay. Well, first things first. You know I picked Bud to win the fight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So because I noticed that it was a couple of guys coming at me saying, "Hey, I'm a hater," this, that, and the third. You know the same thing. But I just wanted to get that out the way. I did pick Bud to win the fight. Okay.
Mm.
Um, but yesterday when I watched the fight, this is my take on it. I think that Terence Crawford was losing the fight up until the stoppage. Okay. Now, um, was the stoppage justified? Not really, in my opinion. But you can't win virtually every round, and then once you get knocked down, because he wasn't even that badly hurt. I seen where you were talking to your brother earlier, and you said that you seemed to think that he was out of there.
Not out of there. I
But
thought, I thought, you know what? He was more hurt than I've ever seen him before. His legs and his eyes looked a bit glazed, and his legs looked like I didn't think his legs looked right, man. When he got back up and he was banging the canvas, yeah. When he got back up, he just didn't look right to me. You know, he didn't look Shawn Porter that we know. He didn't look like that Shawn. Like when he got dropped against Errol Spence, he got back up and he was literally screaming at Errol Spence, "Let's go, let's go, let's go." It wasn't the
mm,
same Shawn Porter, man. Shawn Porter looked a bit glazed in the eyes when he was not. I don't think he recovered from that first knockdown. That
okay,
I don't think he looked good.
so
You know what I mean? Even that's how. Like, when have you seen Porter being dropped twice in a round?
yeah, you never seen that. You never seen
Yeah.
that. But I think he was pretty much banging his head on. I mean, banging his fist on canvas in frustration that he got caught. Not so much that he was, and I agree with you. I would agree that the body language was kind of, it was iffy. But
Mm,
you know, that's when you tell your fighter if he's able to make it out that round, which he is. You tell him just go in, just like Jorge Linares and Devin the Dream Haney. Just like his pops told him. He said, listen, you got caught. You know what I'm saying? So I want you to go in there and I want you to hold the next round and I want you to box the 12. He was in there. Now, would that have happened? I don't know. I'm speaking out of speculation. The truth is nobody knows what would have happened. And you know what? I'm more inclined, and I want to say this so it's very clear. I'm more inclined to believe that had the fight went on, Bud would have stopped him. He would have.
mm,
See, I'm not saying that it wouldn't happen. I'm just saying that Kenny Cricket Porter stopped the fight prematurely. Man, we sitting there watching the fight, and you know, we when we watch fights, we analyze every round, and so I'm looking, and you know, the knockdown happened. Okay, so this is uncharted territory, uncharted waters, uncharted territory for me. I get a chance to see what's gonna unfold. And you know, I say, okay, so he got knocked down. Okay, he got knocked down the second time. Let's see what he gonna do. Let's see if he gonna survive it. I wanted to see him go out like Marvin Happer or a fight. You know what I'm saying? Because he wasn't hurt that bad, dude. He wasn't hurt
mm,
that fight. And and,
mm.
and that and that stoppage was premature. It was premature, man.
Yeah, I'd agree, man. It was premature, but I don't think his father wanted him to go out the way you're saying. You know how like you know how you're saying that Crawford may have knocked him out, and you think he may have knocked him out. I don't think his father wanted it to get to that point. You see what I mean, Stephen?
Yeah, but that was a possibility. The other possibility was that he could have coasted his way into an epic win. See, when you do shit, when you do stuff like that, you deprive people of what could have. We don't know what would have happened. We all speaking of speculation, but the fact of the matter is we didn't get a chance to see it because Kenny Cricket Porter stopped the fight. He stopped the fight, dude.
Hmm.
Bud didn't stop. Bud didn't stop, man. Bud didn't stop Sean.
Hmm.
And this is coming from somebody who picked, you know, who picked the fight, so who picked it the way it was gonna be. I picked Bud to win, but that don't mean I want to see Bud coast in. Bud looked out of sorts the whole fight, man. The whole fight, he got out boxed, he got out pointed. He made little subtle adjustments, but to me, I think Shawn Porter, given his performance, he deserved a little bit more consideration than what he was attributed yesterday, and that's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I just think you know what Porter. I don't know. Maybe Porter. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just a bit weird, isn't it? The stoppage was weird. The everything was weird. Like Porter looked like he
It was
wanted to
weird.
go on. His dad didn't want him to go on. Was this pre-planned prior to the fight? That if you get knocked down or you're not looking good because like his dad really threw him under the bus in that interview as well.
Yeah, yeah.
He
And you know
basically
what,
said his
man?
preparation wasn't great, and I didn't understand. I didn't quite I didn't get it. I didn't get it, man.
Yeah, I didn't get it neither. I didn't get it neither. And I can tell you this, man. In boxing, man, one of the Achilles heel for a lot of fighters is they pops, man. It happens. It's been happening since the dawn of boxing time. It happened with Roy Jones Jr. He had to get rid of his pops. It happened with Keith one time Thurman. He had to get rid of his. It happened with Shane Mosley. It happened with Floyd Mayweather. You know, it happened with De La Hoya. Sometimes these fighters, the fathers, they live vicariously through them kids, man, through them boxers, and they start seeing boxing from a different lens. See, here's the thing about Kenny Porter and Shawn Porter. They're so sophisticated. They are top of the heap when it comes to intelligence and just handling boxing business, not necessarily the fight business, but the business of it. So maybe they did decide before time, hey, this is how it's gonna go. We're not even gonna give you a chance. If you start looking uncertain to me, I'm gonna stop it and we're gonna focus on your commentary, your commentary and your other endeavors because he's very eloquent. He articulates with the best. He's a fighter, so he's suited well in that business aspect. But damn, man, I'm just saying he performed good, man. I was really itching to see what would have unfolded. I would have liked to see Buzz stop him. I would have liked to see Buzz stop him, but we didn't get that chance, and that's what pisses me off, dude.
Yeah, it was bad, man. It was bad. It was like I feel like Terence Crawford. I feel like Terence Crawford got his glory taken away from him as well a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Because of the bizarre stoppage.
Who we got on here, man? I see Little Penny. What's up, Little Penny?
Yeah,
Hey,
little
Steven,
Penny.
how are you?
What's up with it, man? How you doing?
Hey, man, I agree with your take. I think Kenny Porter, man, that was a bad decision because he wasn't that hurt. Like, you could tell when someone is really hurt, and everyone actually thought that was a bad stoppage, including the casuals. Casuals meaning like a lot of the celebrities who watch boxing, like Paul Pierce and Ice Cube. They all thought it was a bad stoppage. But the thing is, we don't know the state of Shawn Porter's like training regime because I watch a lot of Shawn Porter's podcast, and during his training like his training camp, even his two advisors from Fight Hype and the other guy, they were saying, "Hey, dude, maybe you should take a rest. Maybe you should do these podcasts with us, like, because they can handle it themselves." And Shawn Porter says, "No, I'll do it." So that tells me that his mindset is not fully there, and he's fighting Bud Crawford, like kind of like remember when Mayweather fought Pacquiao? He knew the magnitude. Mayweather knew the magnitude of that fight, so he cut everything off. Like he wasn't doing any interviews. He wasn't doing anything. He was just like no commercials. Like what I mean. He was just on that fight, and maybe that's where Kenny Porter was saying like he probably didn't want to see his son get to the inevitable, which is the stoppage. But at the same time, I think you got to give the fighter that chance to get to that inevitability, because you never know. Like he may knock out Bud Crawford. Who knows? Like because he wasn't that hurt. Like we've seen that before, like with a lot of fighters where they come back and knock out the other person. So
yeah, we've seen that time and again where fighters come back and re-strategize and end up winning the fight, man. But and to your point, Little Penny, we would never know because of what happened. He stopped it too damn early, man. He did. He stopped that fight way too early. I mean, we don't know now if he would have went out there and came back the 11th round and looked like he was in bad shape. Then you call the fight. Then you call him. But man, he performed excellent up until that point.
Yeah, that was. I agree with you, Stephen. He did perform well, and I have to say that. Porter performed well. But here's the thing with Porter, man. He comes across a bit of a front runner to me. Like, he comes up short. Like, he comes up short in the key moments in the big fights. Like, me and my brother were talking about it, and Porter's very reckless, Stephen. Like, at times, like even though yesterday I thought he boxed well. Yesterday he boxed well, and he was actually honing that in. But as he gets tired, like I always got the sense, even though Crawford he wasn't boxing that well, but that's because Porter's so horrible and difficult to box with. I always got the feeling that Crawford's gonna pull this out of the bag somewhere along the way. Do you know what I mean? I always got that sense that Crawford's gonna do something here. Like even
Yeah.
though I didn't think it was going Crawford's way, I just got that feeling that Crawford was gonna pull it in his favor, and he did.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Because he's reckless. When you get reckless,
He's reckless, man.
when
He's
you
not,
get tired at the end, you're not as fast. That's how Shawn that's how Errol Spence knocked down Porter at the end. I think it was the 11th round. I can't remember. Because he got reckless.
Exactly. And to be honest, that fight was really like, to be honest, up until that point, like even with that knockdown, some people thought Porter deserved the draw, deserved something from the Spence fight. So, like, but the thing is, that was such a big moment, right? That was such a big moment in the context of the fight that it changed the whole complexion, because it was such a close fight that moment, right, cost him the fight. And this is what I'm saying. I feel like Porter, he's, I just don't know whether he can cut it against these top guys. You know what I mean? I feel like he comes up short because of his style. And the problem is, here's another thing, Stephen. I actually thought watching that fight, someone like Marcus Maidana would have been terrible for Terence Crawford. Horrible. You know why? Because Maidana actually could punch.
Yeah, and doesn't get tired.
And that would have been a big problem. That would have been a big problem for Crawford, because Maidana had a granite chin like Porter, but he was also a big puncher. And that's what Porter lacks, Stephen. He lacks that big power punch.
Yeah. I was looking at you and your brother, man, earlier today, and where y'all had that debate, and you guys were saying, you know, you had your take and your brother's take. I happen to agree with your brother more than you. I think, man, that if Terence Crawford go in there and he fight Earl True Spence like that, he gonna get his ass, he gonna get set on his pockets, because he shows a lot of bona fide. Terence Crawford shows a lot of signs that he's not gonna make it when the true test comes, because Earl Spence, my hater ass brother just walked in here. Okay, my brother's walking in. He's talking crazy. But nah, man, if he go and he starts fighting Earl Spence like that, he gonna get set on his pockets, man, because Earl Spence, he punched too much. His work rate is up there, nonstop. He got a granite chin, and he's defensively sound. Those are all bad telltale signs. Terence Crawford looked like he was struggling, like he was even down on Andre Ward's scorecard yesterday. So he got some issues coming.
Hey, Stephen, how's that fight going to happen? Because Spence, as with Porter, Spence is with the PBC, and as you know, Crawford, even though he's a free agent, actually, because I don't know if you heard the post-fight press conference, it looks like he wants to sign with Bob Arum, right? So he's going to stay with Top Rank, even after this fight, he's actually a free agent. So how's that fight going to happen? Because the PBC is not going to let another of their stars go to ESPN again. It has to be ESPN's turn. They have to bring Bud Crawford to Showtime, because it can't be just one way. You know what I mean?
Well, I heard that Terence Crawford. I mean, I seen in the post interview. I was looking at it earlier, and he said he was leaving by.
No. He said that. He said, because I think someone asked it. I think it was Kevin Ioli that asked him a question about his free agency. He said that if Bob couldn't get me the fight whilst I was with Top Rank, how is it that I'm going to get the Spence fight if I'm without him? So I don't know. That tells me that he's staying, right? Or was it that? Or did I get that wrong?
I don't know, man. Just to be honest with you, I don't know. What you think, Imran?
Something's wrong with this? No, I think it's working.
Hey,
you guys can hear me? No, it's not. Okay.
What's going on, boys?
Okay, you back, Imran?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You struggling too, huh?
Yeah. The connection bit thing. But yeah, Crawford, man. He got the job. He got the job. What do you guys want to see next, man?
Well. Lil Penny was asking about. He was asking about
Heard me.
the possibility of trying to make the fight, whether or not Terence Crawford gonna stick if he's gonna stick with Bob.
All right, okay. I think he's already said he's leaving Bob, didn't he? He's told him to his face.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he told him to his face that. I found that a little bit. I found that a little bit disrespectful, man. The guy's 90 years of age and he's kind of sticking it on him. Even though Bob Arum's been talking a bit crazy, don't get me wrong. But still, man, I still think Bob Arum did a good job for Crawford in the sense that he was making him fight 4 or 5 million a fight, and fighting lower level competition. Really, when you think about it, or fighting guys that were past their prime, and he was making good money. And it's hardly his fault that Spence doesn't want to fight Crawford. It's not his fault, is it? At the end of the day, the two fighters have won a tango, right? It's like Bob Arum can't force Spence in the ring, you know. So I didn't quite understand why Terence was so upset with Bob. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, he was upset with him because it seems from what his statement indicated that Bob Abraham had served as a impediment in in trying to get the fight made. That's what that's what he indicated, and so I that's the case. That has to be the
Yeah,
case. Bob Arum
yeah, Steven.
was
Steven, I think
preventing him from.
I think Bud was upset that Bob couldn't sign other welterweights to Top Rank so he can fight him. Like for example, when Pacquiao was with Top Rank, a lot of the fighters went to him. Like Tim Bradley left his promotional company. I can't remember. I think it was with one of those small promotional companies and went to Top Rank. Same with Juan Manuel Marquez. He was with Golden Boy, but because Pacquiao was with Top Rank, he left Golden Boy and went to Top Rank. And that's what I think Bud was a bit upset of, that no one from the welterweight division went to Top Rank. And I think because he's not a draw, man. He's not a pay-per-view draw.
Hmm.
Same with
Hmm.
Spencer's in a draw
What,
either. I mean, there's not a lot of draws in the welterweight.
Stephen? Stephen, I wanted to ask you a question. I wanted to ask you a question about what do you what do you so do you think that Terence Crawford could also go up to 154 and fight Jamel Charlo? Because that's obviously a good fight as well, and that's a fight that would actually interest a lot of people. What do you make of the Jamel Charlo fight and Terence Crawford? Because if the Spence fight don't happen, I don't really want to see Terence Crawford fight Josh Taylor. I think he'd beat Taylor. I want
Yeah, I
to
think
see
he
him
beat
fight.
Taylor too.
Hey,
I think that's a good fight, man. I think it's a potential fight. I just think that Jamel is I think he's a little too big for Bud. I think I don't know if it if Bud's having issues with if he's having issues with the likes of Shawn Porter and some of the smaller guys, he definitely ain't gonna fare well against Jamel. Do you think that will be equal fight?
a dare to be great fight. You know what I mean? I think it'd be daring to be great kind of thing. So I wouldn't mind seeing that. Don Dada in the comments says Taylor would be a legacy fight and a bigger fight. Taylor is a bigger than Crawford.
Nah.
What Crawford v Taylor would be a bigger legacy fight than Spence. I don't think it would. No chance.
No chance at all. That's Taylor's gonna be, but you know what though? The more and more I think about it, that'd be a good fight. I think it would be a good fight, but I don't think that he's durable enough to withstand Terence Crawford and his all that he brings. Maybe some of the other guys, uh, I like to hear some of the other guys' thoughts on that fight.
Yeah, Mike, let's get you in, Mike. Ash, what do you make, Mike? What did you make firstly of Porter Crawford yesterday? Mike,
He must be mute.
Yeah.
Ash,
How's it
Ash, you
going,
there?
man? You good?
All good, man. What are you saying? You all right?
I'm good, man. Everyone good, yeah?
Everyone's good. Everyone's
Ash,
good.
Yep.
Yeah.
What did you make of the fight, man? I told you Crawford will stop him.
Hey, man, I told you, didn't I, that Shawn Porter's gonna bring it, didn't I tell you?
Yeah, you did, to be fair.
And but I did tell you that he wouldn't get knocked out. Like his dad's had to stop the fight. But
Mm.
I was listening to Steven and what's LP stand for again? Little pennies. Yeah, little pennies is what they were saying, and I kind of agree to a certain extent. But I think he wasn't. What you got to remember is when he fought Errol Spence didn't. It was a different fight. It was it was Shawn Porter's fight. They fought like in like a phone booth, and Errol Spence
Mm.
just stood there and fought with him, and that's why people think that he did much better with Errol Spence. But Terence Crawford couldn't do that, and he knew you couldn't do that. So the fight was different. So it's more technical. And then when it come to the later rounds, Shawn Porter had to revert back to jumping in because I told you about Crawford's reach is long. It's hard to get in there. So he tried to just jump in there, and Crawford just stepped back and just uppercutted him. And
Mm.
yeah, maybe he would have stopped him in later rounds, but I don't think he would have stopped him because he wasn't hurt to the extent that he got up and he was wobbling around and like Cal Brook was, or even when Amir Khan was, when he gets hurt or something along them lines. Yeah, he was buzzed a bit more because he was running into the shot. Like for example, when Errol Spence dropped him, they were both there and they both threw right hands, and he threw a right hand, he threw a left hand, but Errol Spence landed first. So he was just one. It was a different kind of shot that he wasn't as hurt because he got dropped twice. But you got to remember he was coming onto the second shot, and the first one is all technical because he's trying to box a boxer. There, you get what I mean? And
Mm.
he's not brawling with him because what you got to remember, Errol Spence fight was more of a brawl. If you watch it go back, and when it got to the middle round, it was just a brawl. Then it was just going at it. So for me, I think he could have let it go. He could have let it go. Plus, he knew he was going to retire. You can't tell me he didn't tell his dad I'm going to retire. So you should let him go and go for it. And even if you got dropped again in the 11th round, then maybe throw the towel in and say, you know what, that's enough. You got dropped 3 times. But it is what it is. But I knew Crawford would have in the end beaten him anyway.
hey,
Yeah,
Ash, I'm
the
happy
thing.
for you, man.
Say that
Sorry,
again.
Ash, I'm happy for you because I know you're an advocate for Bud Crawford, and I actually didn't think that Bud would stop him, even though
Yeah, do you
it was
remember I was
quite.
saying to you that I wouldn't be surprised, Imran, if man remembers? I said I wouldn't be surprised, but it wouldn't be a knockout like he's been knocked out cold, and if his dad didn't step in, I don't think maybe would have got up once more, but it wouldn't have been like it would have got to the end. I don't think Crawford would have stopped him.
Hey, Imran, now someone just made a
Yeah.
comment. Jose Ruiz, is that 600,000? Is that confirmed? The pay-per-view buys? It's a bit early. Usually, it takes about a week to get the pay-per-view buys to get collated. But Jose Ruiz, he's saying that 600,000 pay-per-view buys. Is that right?
What was that? So who's
The
got
pay-per-view.
600,000 pay-per-view buys?
Yeah, is that has that been confirmed by ESPN or is that just a
Which
guess?
fight? Which fight are you talking about?
The Crawford Porter fight. He's saying that it did 600,000 pay-per-view buys.
Who said that?
Jose Ruiz on your comments.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
I don't think so. I don't think. I think that's. Yeah,
that's a bit
I don't
high.
think that did that many buys. To be honest, I don't think so, man. I don't think those two guys are big enough to do that many buys.
Yeah, I agree.
Plus, he was in New York maybe but then again, New York would have been more people coming to the fight than buying the fight.
I thought it was at Mandalay Bay, that fight.
Yeah,
I'm
was that
saying,
Las Vegas?
yeah, if he was in New York, maybe we would have got more at the gate. I mean.
Yeah, possibly. But what next now, guys? For Crawford, Ash, what do you think? What do you want to see next?
The Spence fight is 34, isn't he now? Errol Spence will just take that fight. Errol Spence, I think, I gotta think about it a bit more, but
You
going off that performance, I think it depends how the fight plans are, but I think Errol Spence will beat him. Because the size factor, and then you got the skill factor as well, and the power. And then he's not much rangier than Spence. I just think Spence will have a bit. Spence will he'll have a bit more for him. I'll be surprised if Crawford beats Spence. To be honest, he's got the skills and everything, yeah. But he's if you get what I mean. If he went in there with Shawn Porter and fought Shawn the way Errol Spence did, if you really want to compare, and stopped him and blocked him twice and walked him down, kind of thing, then you could say, you know what, he's got Errol Spence's number because he's got the skills and he can kind of walk people down. But he showed that he hasn't got that in him. He can't just walk here and knock you out. He has to like set traps for you. So yeah, I think he should take that Spence fight because he's 34 and he ain't got much long really, has he? Not saying that he's done. He's maybe still got a couple of years, but it's best to have him now because we don't want to see it another few years down the line. So I think next fight, Errol Spence or Ugas. Title fights going up for now. You can't fight anyone less than that. Can't go and fight someone like, I don't know, and ranked number 10 or someone like that. Or like, you know what I mean? He needs to fight the top guys.
Dundada says that Crawford could possibly stop Spence.
Nah, man. I remember I spoke to you about he's a sharpshooter. How do you think he stopped him? Because if he's the sharpshooter, he stepped back and gave him uppercut. You didn't see it because he's sharp. But what you got to remember is Errol Spence is a different type of fighter. He's not going to lunge in like that. He's got skills. He's going to come in with a jab, strong jab that he's got. He's got fundamentals. He's got really good defensively, and he's a big, strong guy. And he's got his own set of skills that he's going to bring in. And I can't see him. Well, you never know. In the day, it's a fight, and they're both top guys. But if I had to put my money on him right now, I'd say Errol Spence because he's a stronger guy. I think he's a stronger guy, and he's got if not the same level of skills. Only thing that guy does better is switches, which gives you a different type of a look because now he's a different stance. So now you gotta do something different.
Ash, I'd like to get everyone's opinion on this. I don't think after what Spence has suffered, I think you're still looking at Spence as the old Spence. He suffered a broken eye socket, a car accident. I don't know what against Crawford. Remember, Danny Garcia is different because Danny Garcia is quite limited, right?
Yeah.
But against
Danny
this
Garcia's
version
got
of
power
Crawford,
Yeah, Danny Garcia's got power though.
he has got power, but he didn't really land anything
But what you
against
got to remember, man,
Spence.
what you got to remember, man, is if Errol Spence went in there and was being shy from the power and he's boxing differently, then you can say the car accident's done something to him. He went in there and he wasn't shy from Danny Garcia's power. He fought Danny Garcia and he outboxed him and he kind of beat him up as well. So yeah, it wasn't the best performance from him, but you got to remember there's this Terence Crawford would have injuries that we don't know about. He could have injuries that you don't know about. He's not going to tell anyone. He could have an elbow injury. He could have a knee injury. They're only going to come out with it like a key term, and after he's having back-to-back heavy, hard fights, and then he's thinking, "Fucking hell, I don't know." And then he's gone into operations because when you find top guys, your body's going through. So you got putting your body through a really tough regime to go when you find top guys, and then you get injuries. So obviously, even Crawford will have these injuries. But I know what you mean. What you're saying as career-changing injuries like eye injury and stuff like that. But what I saw of him since he's been back, if you compare him to say Cal Brook was a shadow of himself as soon as he came back. Errol Spence is still the same kind of guy.
What? So, if we were to say, firstly, I didn't think I asked you, Ash. What did you make of the Kenny Porter's comments on why he stopped the fight after the stoppage?
Did you see
the interview?
Shawn, yeah, I was gonna say, did you see Shawn Porter's face when he looked over when he seen him on the side? He looked at him to what are you doing on there? And he had that in him. And once the fight was over, I was just watching what they were doing. He was following him around the ring. Yeah, Kenny Porter was, and he must have been telling him, "Look, I have to stop the fight." Blah 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 blah. He must have been explaining it to him, like that why he stopped it. And what you're asking about his comments what was his comments again, man? That he wasn't doing the right things and stuff, was he saying?
Yeah, he wasn't preparing in training. He wasn't preparing right and stuff.
That's excuses, isn't it? I think because yeah, But he was saying the opposite of everything else. He's saying we do everything as we normally do. We don't change anything up, and we're ready for the fight. And even at the press conference, he was doing the fighting talk. I can't remember exactly what he was saying, Kenny Porter, but he was saying all the things that you want him to say. And now that the fight's over, he's saying, "Oh, Shawn Porter." You know what, man? Honestly, Kenny Porter, he's put a shadow over this fight.
Yeah, he has.
We're
Yeah.
going to talk about that now. Everyone's always going to talk about Kenny Porter standing on that apron and stopping the fight when he didn't need to, because everyone that watched boxing, Shawn Porter was not hurt. He wasn't hurt where you needed to get in there and stop it quickly. And he's going on like, oh, he needs to have his career and stuff. People like Shawn Porter, he hasn't been in wars and had suffered beatings where he's been stopped so many times where then you need to keep an eye on when he's getting hit a few times. He could have let that go, but he just wanted, he knew that he maybe doesn't can't beat him, so he just stopped it.
It was a bad, to be honest, it was a kind of a weird stoppage. You know what I mean? I think he was looking out for his son because he probably thought his
But
son
hey
might
man,
get
come
knocked
on.
out and he
Yeah,
was saving him.
yeah, but
But
every trainer looks out for their fighter. You look at Virgil Hunter. You think he didn't want to pull out Andre. He didn't have the thought to pull Andre Ward out the first time when he got knocked down and everything and he's hurt and everything. You know what I mean? And Kovalev was all over him.
mm,
But he knew that he knows the fighter, and he knew, I think, Kenny Porter when he got to the 10th round. But what boggles me is that Shawn Porter was in the fight.
yeah,
It wasn't like he was getting beat up all the way through and he was just getting in there. Like if you compare that fight to Amir Khan was getting beat up in 5 6 rounds.
mm,
From the third round, Amir Khan was just getting beat up. He's just surviving in there. What I
hmm
saw of that fight, I need to watch the Shawn Porter fight again. But what I saw, he wasn't surviving. He was in the fight. On some cards, the guys were saying that he was up even on some cards.
mm.
So for his dad to do that, honestly, when you're saying, "Oh, he's looking after his son," I don't believe in that, because every fighter's trainer is gonna look after their fighter when they see him hurt. You know, they're gonna think, should we pull him out? Like, that's just common sense. That's what the trainer's there for. Doesn't mean because he's his dad, it's just any different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd agree with you. I'd agree with you there. But I don't know. It's just weird, Ash. Everything about that stoppage was weird. Like,
And then the guy's hugging him and saying, "Oh, we always love you," and this and this. And
yeah,
what kind of joke is that, man?
yeah,
What,
yeah. I, I
what
didn't
that
I
tells
didn't
me?
understand, man. I
What
I
that
did. I
tells
was a
me
bit
is they both
confused
want to make
myself.
money together.
You know, it was really weird. Like, you don't see a championship level fight, and then the fact that he retired right after the fight as well.
Yeah,
I didn't understand it, man. I didn't understand it. I don't know. It's like, you know what? I felt like, how you sometimes get a fighter that comes for a paycheck.
yeah.
I felt like Shawn Porter came to fight, but his dad had a different mindset to his son.
You reckon?
I don't know,
Because
because
Sean
that's
Porter, I
all I
think,
can think of, because I didn't quite understand. I didn't understand what, like I don't know whether his dad was thinking that he's a part-time fighter now. He's gonna retire. I don't know. It just
if you
didn't
look,
make sense to me.
hey
Why
man,
would you stop the fight? I
if you
don't
look
get it.
at,
I can see that, he didn't want his son to get knocked out, but when the fight's kind of even, you're not getting beat up. It was just one round. It was one round
mm,
where he got taken apart a little bit, but I don't know, man. It was just really bizarre. Really bizarre.
if you look at his record as well, to be honest with you, he is kind of a gatekeeper at a top level gatekeeper though, because
Hmm.
when he's fought everyone at a top level, like every champion he's fought, I'm sure he's lost to everyone. Has he beat Danny Garcia? Has he fought Danny Garcia? I think he beat Danny
Yeah, he
Garcia.
beat Danny Garcia
Yeah,
in a very
but
close fight. A
yeah,
lot of people thought Garcia won that, though.
and Danny Garcia is a 140 as well. You got to remember. Now he's grown
Yeah, yeah,
into after so many years. But what I mean
yeah.
is Keith Thurman, Errol Spence. Who else was it? Ugas.
Kell
He
Brook.
lost. Cal Brook. Ugas. He definitely lost that fight. No way
Hmm.
he beat Ugas. Ugas. He lost. Then he's come to Crawford. He's lost. So when you come to every fight that you're in you're in the boxing to do is to be a world champion. He's never been a world champion. He's always been for the paychecks, really, because he only won Cal Brook. He only beat Cal Brook, and then he got the. How did he get the WBC? I can't remember. Is it
No,
because
he
he got
lost to Kell Brook.
no? I mean, he lost to Cal Brook, but later on he become two-time, didn't he? So the WBC, I can't remember who he beat. He won it off. Was it Danny Garcia? The 40 was it?
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah. He
when
beat
Keith
Danny
Thurman.
Garcia. He beat
It was
Danny
when Keith
Garcia.
Thurman was the bat was taken off Keith Thurman, wasn't it? When he was off for so long.
I think so. Yes,
I'm
yes,
sure.
yes.
So there you go. So he wouldn't have become champion again if Keith Thurman didn't get injured.
Yeah, yeah,
So if you look
yeah.
back at it, what kind of level of a fighter is he really?
Yeah, you could say he's like, you could say he's a gatekeeper. Like, you know what,
He's a
Porter?
top level gatekeeper.
Yeah, yeah. He became world champ twice. You know, I remember who did he beat? He beat Devin Alexander, didn't he? First time. So
I
he
can't
won his
remember to
first
be honest.
championship beating Devin Alexander.
Yeah, because he was
Then he
mauling
beat,
everyone, wasn't he? He was
hey,
mauling them. Yeah,
yeah, he was mauling him, but that was a close fight as well.
yeah.
The Alexander fight, and then obviously he beat Danny Garcia.
And that was because he was up for grabs. The belt was it wasn't that Danny Garcia was champion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Danny Garcia wasn't champion; it was a vacant title.
Yeah, this is what I mean. So fair play to him. He's a good fighter. He's not a shit fighter, but what people are saying, like recently, you looked at Shawn Porter is a top level, top 3 fighter, but really he isn't, is he? That's what I was
No,
the
no.
point I was making, because after Crawford and Errol Spence, if Keith Thurman was fit, he'd be the number 3rd fighter. Because Shawn Porter's never, done anything. He's never besides winning against Gansco Garcia.
Mm.
So even what I'm saying is, if he stayed around, who's he going to fight?
Yeah, he'd have to fight like Boots Ennis and guys like that,
And
right?
he ain't beating them guys.
Mm.
Well, wouldn't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either, to be honest.
And he wouldn't want to be getting beat up by them guys. So this is the reason why maybe he's retired, I think, because all the rest of the guys he's already fought and lost to.
Yeah, AM says Ugas beat him. Yeah, I agree, man. I thought Ugas won that fight as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you guys
Ugas
beat
won
him.
that fight, man. Ugas is probably his best win, you know.
You know what? Ugas is a tricky customer. I wouldn't be
You
surprised.
know
I'll tell you
what,
something.
Ash? I think Ugas is better than Porter.
He is. He is. He beat Porter. He's got skills. He's
Yeah,
got
yeah.
skills. He's an awkward. He's southpaw, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No. Ugas is a orthodox fighter,
Are you
but
sure?
Ugas is a very skilled fighter. Very skilled fighter.
He's very awkward and he's rangy and he's very active. And this is why he beat Manny Pacquiao, because Manny Pacquiao at his age he needed more time to get ready for someone like Ugas. And obviously at this time he didn't have that time, and he just thought, forget it, I'll just jump in there. Because Manny Pacquiao was up for that fight, because I remember in the press conference he said, we'll find out who the real champion is, because they took the belt off Manny Pacquiao, didn't they? And he's up for that fight. But that shows that Ugas is a top level fighter.
Definitely. Ugas is a good fighter, man.
Yeah, Stephen.
I think he's a
Stephen.
better fighter too.
Who's that?
This me, Steve.
No, what did you say? Who's a great
Um,
fighter, Steve?
I think Ugas is a better fighter than Porter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
I
were
think
saying
so.
that.
Yeah, that's what we were saying.
Yeah. He's got.
Yeah, he beat him as well, Stephen. Don't you think?
Yeah, he beat him. He beat him.
Mm.
He beat him handily. I think the fight to make, man, if Errol Spence and Terence Crawford can't make that fight, I think either one of those guys should try to fight, make the fight, get the fight with Ugas.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think the Ugas fight would be a very good fight for either of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ugas is a very dangerous fight as well, you know, especially after watching this Porter fight with Crawford, because Ugas is a boxer and he's tall and long.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you guys a question, man. How much credit do you give Crawford for this fight, then, Imran, Stephen?
Me, I give him credit. I give Crawford credit, not a ton of credit, because ultimately I think that if you put a truth serum in me, I think he would have ended up stopping Shawn Porter. But his performance he struggled with Shawn Porter greatly. He was even losing the fight, in my opinion. He was losing the fight up to the 10th round. So I don't know, man. I don't give him a lot of credit. I really don't give him a lot of credit because um, he didn't hurt, but I mean he didn't hurt Shawn Porter. He didn't put on the performance I was hoping that he would have put on. So I don't give him a lot of credit. I really don't.
Mm.
What you reckon, man?
I personally think he did something that hadn't been done before. He stopped Porter. I know Steven's saying that his dad, but I think we can all agree that I think personally he would have gone on to stop him, right? So for me, he separated himself from the sense that no one else was able to stop Shawn Porter, and he did. Although I do agree
Yeah,
his
you
performance
keep
was a bit.
saying that.
Yeah,
You
go
keep
on.
Man,
saying that, Imran, but the fact of the matter is that he didn't stop him.
let me
He wasn't even hurt that much. He
I was
wasn't hurt
going
that badly.
just to jump on the. I was gonna say, Imran, you know, if he stopped him, if like we said, if he did stop him, he was gonna stop him, but he stopped him the way everyone expected him to stop him, like the way he didn't, you know. Do you know what I mean? Like walk him down and stop him. He stopped him by him jumping in and him stepping back and stopping it, like dropping him. So he didn't do something spectacular where we didn't think he could do. We knew he had that in him to do that if Shawn Porter came in like that, which he did. He jumped, and he got him. But if he did it the other way around and stayed in the pocket with him and did it that way, then you can maybe give him some more credit. Is what I'm trying to say.
I think I think I think Crawford's always going to be in a difficult spot because with Crawford, right, he's always
Oh,
fighting these guys after they've already fought each other. So like people will say, well, oh, Porter's retired now, so he wasn't the best Porter. Do you know what I mean? So Crawford's always in a catch-22 because all these guys have fought each other, right? And Crawford's fighting them after they fought. Like Kell Brook, he was already gone through a lot, right? He fought, Amir Khan after he had fought so many fights and been in tough fights. He fought, Porter now, and Porter's been through a lot, and he's retired effectively now. So he's
really?
always in like a catch-22. So basically, the fight that Porter needs is Spence, right? Because even if he fights Thurman, right? Thurman is, I think, shot as well, man. I don't
I,
think Thurman is the fighter he was either, because the guy's so inactive and he's like a part-time boxer now, Thurman. Let's be honest.
mm,
So he needs to fight Spence, man. That fight needs to happen, and
if,
we need to
if,
get an answer because we can all sit here and speculate and say, well, Crawford will win or Spence will win. They need to fight, man. And here's the thing about that fight. I think
mm,
Crawford wins. I used to think Spence wins. I think Crawford wins. My brother thinks Spence wins. Steven thinks Spence wins. So many
um,
others think Crawford wins. So many others think Spence. But the main thing is that they need to get in the ring, man. They need to get in the ring now because they're both getting older, man. Crawford's getting older. He's 34.
what I think what Crawford needs to do is go fight Ugas.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'll be a good
yeah,
test
that'd be
for
a
him.
good fight. That'd be
If
a
he,
That'll
great
be a
fight.
good fight, man, for him. I think if he can't get the Spence fight, and
yeah,
if he can't get that fight, man, the fight that makes sense, the only other fight that makes sense is Ugas. That's the fight that makes sense right now. And I
and then
heard what you said about him being in that's what happens when you're so good, man. When you're so good, man, you put yourself in a precarious situation, whether you like it or not, because a lot of people are going to be looking for you to you have to continuously prove yourself. That's why there's a lot of critique and a lot of criticism being placed on the likes of Canelo. People feel like he's still, you are always having to prove yourself. I'm
Mm,
not saying that these guys aren't that shouldn't be on the pound for pound list, but that performance that uh, Terence Crawford put up against Shawn Porter yesterday he was he it wasn't a good performance. It wasn't a good
mm,
performance. If he didn't have that X factor, which was if he didn't, have that X factor, he would have lost that fight. He would have lost
mm,
it. And that's why I'm saying we can't sit here and say that that he would have stopped him. I think that he probably would have stopped him. but we don't know that because his performance didn't indicate that he was, that he was gonna stop him. It could have went either way. Hell, he could have got knocked out. We don't know. We don't know because it was stopped early. It was stopped early. We just don't know, man. We just don't know.
One of the biggest fans of Crawford is in the house, Ahmed.
How are
What's
you?
going on?
How are you guys? I
Good,
told you.
good, man. Good.
I told you Crawford will stop him.
Yes, Ahmed.
Ash, what are you saying?
Yeah, listen. Let me, I said the same thing. I didn't say he was going to lose to Porter.
No, you said he wouldn't stop him. That was the
Yeah,
question.
you didn't stop him though. Let me say one thing: Porter wasn't hurt any more than he was hurt in the Spence fight. And secondly, yeah, his dad jumped in and gave the fight because I think he wanted to take a bit of luster off Crawford's win because he didn't want him to stop.
He just about made the 10 count after the second when he got dropped the second time. It was over really. Finished.
Yeah, no, look, credit to Crawford because what you got to remember is Spence fought Porter's fight when they fought, and Porter tried to fight Crawford's fight, and obviously there's only one winner in that fight, as we saw last night. Ahmed.
Yeah, you were saying it. Nobody will be able to stop
No, but
Porter.
listen,
I said to you, I won't rate Crawford if he
Yeah.
doesn't stop Porter. That's the
he
expectations I had, and he fulfilled them expectations.
Yeah, listen, he wasn't winning on most of the cards. He wasn't like he was really beating up Shawn Porter because no one does that, which I've said. Shawn Porter came in and showed his best foot forward, but because Crawford's a pound for pound, even when he's having a bad night, like even Canelo didn't have a good performance against Plant, I think. But because he's so pound for pound, he just got that blow in him, and that's it. It's all over. So same as Crawford, because he's pound for pound and he's fighting Crawford's fight, that's even better. So a couple of steps back, uppercut, night.
Yeah, but don't you think his performance against Porter was much better and clearer than Spence?
It was a different fight, to be honest with you. But like I said, obviously, I still think Errol Spence will beat him, as I said to Imran. So I'll say to you, you're the Crawford fan. I like Crawford. He's a really good fighter. I wouldn't just give like I've told him and why I feel Errol Spence will beat him because he didn't got the power.
There's a reason why Spence has been taking this long. It's either him or his management. They don't want to go anywhere near Crawford yet. You know what I mean? They want the years to pass by.
Like Steven said, we sitting on his pockets, man.
What do you mean?
I'll let Steven tell you.
Well, I was. Here's the thing, man. I think I disagree with you a little bit. I mean, I think that he struggled the whole fight. You know what I'm saying? Terence Crawford struggled the whole fight. I don't think he put on the performance. I would have liked him to do. It wasn't. The stoppage was early. I don't see how you can conclude that he was so spectacular yesterday. I don't see it, nothing was definitive in my eyes. And I think if he fights Errol Spence, he's in for a rude awakening because Errol Spence has all the attributes that it takes to beat somebody like him.
No, Crawford will outbox Errol Spence all night long. Whether he forces the issue of going for the knockout or not, I think Crawford will just outbox Spence. Spence has not got the tools to turn things up, against Crawford. He's only got one way of fighting.
Let me tell you this, and you might think I'm crazy when I say this, but he didn't even outbox Shawn Porter yesterday. Come on, man, he's not gonna outbox Errol Spence because one thing he doesn't acclimate to change well. He didn't make that many adjustments. He just got, what I'm saying, he didn't make that many, so I don't know, man. I think that Errol Spence, his chin, his technique is gonna be fair for him to be the victor of that fight. I think that's what I think.
Ahmed, what you gotta remember is Shawn Porter's jab is not really good. Shawn Porter was a much smaller guy. and Shawn Porter's footwork's not the best really. Not saying he's not better than the Spencers anyway, and his IQ is not the same. And someone that can go and put a little beating on Mayweather, years ago, as you know, you gotta have something about you. So you just gotta bear that in mind.
Yeah, but then you can say Porter beat Usyk as well.
Listen, that's amateurs, man. That's not. You can't.
Still though,
Whatever it was.
it holds some value. You know what I mean?
Look. Talk the professional game, and in regards to the professional game, yes, Terence Crawford did his job, but the luster was taken off it because we don't know what would have happened in the last few rounds. And like Steven said, he wasn't a five-star performance. He didn't really. But look, I give him credit because no one really looks really good against Shawn Porter. So let's just put that to one side. But when you're saying he will do this and that to Errol Spence, I agree with Steven. I don't think he would because it'd be a different proposition. You're not fighting a guy that's small and just jumping at you and he's got a little jab and and whatever. This guy's bringing a lot of things with him, so he's unified champion for a reason.
He gonna be eating that jab all night long. He gonna be eating that jab all night long from Earl Spence.
No,
You gotta remember Crawford's got no head movement. Crawford's head movement is non-existent.
And and Earl Spence is a tremendous body
You know why?
puncher.
I tell you why. Because when you see him, a lot of his fights, he comes in orthodox. As soon as he starts getting touched here, he turns to southpaw. Because when you turn southpaw, you've got more distance between you and the opponent, and then the opponent, and plus the opponents maybe get a bit bamboozled now, and that's when he turns it up a bit. But normally,
you guys should be giving Porter, Crawford, a lot of credit because even Floyd Mayweather wouldn't have been able to stop Shawn Porter.
no, but that's the thing. Stars make fights, and but then goes back to what Imran saying. I don't think he would have kept Maidana off him. So
Crawford would have boxed Madonna's ears off. No, Madonna would have given him a good fight. He would have given him a good fight, but Crawford would have been too good. You can see the levels in it.
All I'm going to say one thing is this, Ahmed. The best defensive fighters that we've seen could not see their overhand right coming over, and he got connected with it a lot of times. And you're telling me Terence Crawford is going to see that overhand right, and he's gonna do. I don't see it.
No, he would. To be honest with you,
and his chin,
his chin is
nowhere near, mate. His chin is nowhere near Floyd Mayweather's chin.
No, Crawford's got a good chin, man.
Nowhere near, man. Come on, you're comparing him to Mayweather a minute ago.
No, Mayweather's got a good chin as well, but he's not a great chin. He's not solid. It's just the fact that he was a defensive genius.
Shane Mosley, a lot of power.
Yeah, Shane Mosley, a 38, 40-year-old, just about hit him off his back foot as well, coming forward.
I'm just naming you one. I could name a couple of, because he never got hit a lot because he's the best defensive fighter. So I can't really go back. But even Manny Pacquiao, when he hit him with a counter left hand, he was hurt, but he wasn't. He was buzzed. But them type of shots would drop people. So Crawford got dropped by flipping Velasquez.
No, that was hardly a flash knock to him.
That was a drop, man. He hit him, and he became the same way that the guy was. He fell the same way on Velasquez because he got hurt. Normally people fall on the back, he fell on his face.
I've got a question to ask. If you guys think Crawford performed below par, do you think it might be a little bit of a way into trying to lure Errol Spence into the fight? Because, like we said, even I admit Porter was at his best, but Crawford was not at his best. And do you think that could possibly be a reason?
Who knows? That could be a strategy. That could be a strategy. What I seen yesterday. Yes, sir.
Steven, that's nonsense, man. You don't go into a fight thinking that I'm gonna lure Spence into a fight and potentially end up losing the fight.
Not losing it. No, not losing it.
Do you think about it? When Porter's no dummy, like in the sense that you can't go in with Shawn Porter and say, you know what, I'm gonna lower my levels just to make it look like so then Spence wants to fight me. Nah, man.
Shawn Porter made everyone look.
What do you think, Steven? What do you think?
No, I don't. I really don't know. I really don't know. I just think that Terence Crawford was off his game yesterday. I don't think that he was really prepared for the awkwardness and the activity, the high activity, and to be frank with you, the boxing skills of Shawn Porter yesterday. So I think that he was kind of caught off guard. If Terence Crawford doesn't, if he has one thing that you can count on, he does have the X factor. So, and the X factor is what's been winning him all these fights. But I think that I think in the Spence fight, I think Spence nullifies the X factor he has. I think Spence, I think his jab, I think his body shots, I think his physicality, his stature, his physique, everything it goes in Earl Spence's favor. That's what I
But
think.
but Stephen, when it comes to making adjustments after adjustments, do you think Spence will be able to do that if he struggles against Crawford? Do you think he's got a plan B or a plan C?
Um, I think they do a good job in that gym. Derrick James and company, and he's gonna get good sparring partners. I think they want. I want to believe that they are prepared for that, but I mean we won't know until they fight. I don't. I think we never seen Earl Spence really be tested, so that is something that is unknown right now. I'm just speaking off of the eye test. My eye test and my assessment indicates is telling me my analysis tells me that uh, the fight between the two of them favors Earl Spence as the winner. Now, I don't know. I don't know. What is Crawford gonna do when he's in there with somebody that's bigger, stronger, and just keeps coming at him? Because
But
he didn't do well yesterday.
we
He
know,
didn't
but
do
we know
well.
Crawford. We know Crawford could make adjustments. I mean, he made them against Jeff Horn. When he had to turn the upper level. Bigger guy, stronger guy, and we've seen him make adjustments.
Hmm. Yeah,
Sean Porter,
yeah. Bliss man, go ahead.
were you gonna say something, Stephen?
I was gonna comment on Bliss Bang. He's saying the eye
No,
test does not mean anything. I know
I'll
it
let
don't
you.
mean, but I'm just giving my assessment, and my assessment of it is that a fight between the two favors Earl Spence for the many before mentioned reasons I just mentioned. I'm not
I'm
saying
just
that
gonna
the eye test
just,
is a sure shot
just
thing that you can bet on.
I'm just gonna add
But
to that. What I was gonna say was Ahmed is saying that Crawford's skills, he makes adjustments and his skills are, top level, right? So we can agree that he's got more better skills than Sean Porter. Yeah,
Yeah, I
Crawford. So he hasn't got the dog in him though because he couldn't do it. So because his skills were better than Sean Porter's, that's how he won the fight. Is what point I'm making. But when it comes to Errol Spence has got the dog in him, and he's got the skills, and he's a big enough guy. So this is what Stephen is trying to say. You can't overcome all that just because he could overcome it against a smaller guy because he's got better skills, but not stronger than him really. He didn't push Tom Porter to the ropes and bully him, where Errol Spence did.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
Errol
but
Spence.
Errol Spence was having life and death with him. I mean, if you're contradicting
Listen,
yourself a little bit.
if Errol Spence
Errol
want
Spence
to
had life and death with him.
listen,
Mikey Garcia coming up 2 weight classes should
Marky
have been
Garcia.
stopped.
Put it this way. Marky Garcia was barking up the wrong tree himself. No one asked Marky Garcia to come up to 147 and start shouting at Spencer's name. So if he wants to come and get a whooping, that's fine. So he came up and he got a whooping and he didn't know. He could have easily walked him down and knocked him out. But he wanted to prove a point that I'm going to box Marky Garcia. And
You
Marky
don't
Garcia
prove
is
it.
a top
Yeah,
level boxer. Let me
you don't
finish.
prove a point.
Marky Garcia,
You don't
Marky
prove a
Garcia's
point.
boxing skills used to be up there. I don't know about now. He's lost his last fight. He's not really got the dedication. But when he was fighting, his boxing skills are, sound. So if you could do that to someone like that, yeah, he's a smaller guy, but his boxing skills are on par with Sean Porter's, if not better. Just that Sean Porter is just a bigger guy and he just mauls you. So you can't compare. Say, oh, Errol Spence fought Mikey Garcia, so he's a small guy, and he fought who's the other guy you named?
Well, Garcia, Shawn Porter, life and death. Kell Brook, he did struggle with him early on against Kell Brook. Obviously, he
Before,
had a broken eye retina, and
so
you know,
what does that prove? He still came to England and took the belt. That was his job. That's what he had to do. What was he going to do? Say, oh, because Cal Brooks had a broken eye retina, I'm not going to fight him now because he's not the how he was. That's not his problem. He's come
I,
to
I
get the
think
belt.
I think if he fought a pre-Golovkin Kell Brook, it would have been a mighty close, and he might have
No,
even lost.
yeah, but what we're saying is that going off the record, Errol Spence has got a better record at welterweight. He fought the better guys.
Well, Crawford has stopped 6 fighters in a row at 147.
Yeah, but 147, you're talking guys that like Amir Khan, who's not in the top 10. Cal Brooks not in the top 10 in any
Yep,
sanctioned body.
yep.
So you take them straight out.
The fashion he's done it in, who moves up from 140
Ahmed,
straight away,
you're talking about
and
guys that, that have been at the prime for 5 years ago. Let's talk about it right now. Who is fought? And because we're comparing Shawn Porter, because both guys are fought him. Like, that's why we're comparing them guys, because that's the only guy of note that, Crawford has fought at welterweight. So let's get that
at this
straight.
stage, apart from possibly, apart from Errol Spence, who is better than Shawn Porter on paper and
Ugas,
resume
Ugas,
and Uga?
Ugas is better than Shawn Porter, hands down.
Yeah, but Porter beat him.
No, on paper he did, but do you agree that you beat him? Is that what you saw?
No, I've not watched the fight, but obviously people
Well, you
were
need to go
saying
watch the fight,
it
Ahmed,
was very close.
because
I'm gonna
I've
check that
known,
one
and
out.
not everyone I spoke to, and I speak about that fight. No one said Shawn Porter won that fight. So
Yeah,
Well,
I don't think Porter won that fight against Ugas. Ugas won that
look,
fight.
only thing that Crawford's got going in his advantage, that he's a good fighter and he's got good skills. And whoever he's come up against, he's beat him, fair enough. But when you're comparing him to some like a unified champion, like you're saying Errol Spence, you're comparing him and his resume. You can't do that at welterweight because you can't talk about light welterweight and whatever else because Errol Spence has the fourth day. He's only fought at welterweight, so he's come up there. Now you're looking at the records, you can't compare, and then you're saying, you know, he's fought this guy, that guy, but your guy hasn't fought no one. I still rate for Crawford, but if you're comparing the two guys, Errol Spence just edges him because he's much better than Shawn Porter, and this guy is just about to. You're saying beat Shawn Porter because in my eyes, Shawn Porter was if not there winning the fight, drawing the
you
fight,
can't, you
and his
can't say
dad
Errol
threw the
Spence.
towel in.
You can't say Errol Spence is much better than Porter because we've seen
Look,
what
what,
happened.
what I'm gonna say is this: I've seen fighters been hurt much more than that and not been stopped.
Yeah,
And
that's real
Kenny
tough.
Porter jumped in there and stopped the fight.
No, he
So,
did the right thing. He did the right thing to stop the fight.
so that means every time someone gets dropped and gets up, the referee's job. That's the referee's job. He asked Shawn Porter, "Are you okay?" He goes, "Yes, I'm okay." He started walking around, so he wasn't. He didn't need to be stopped. That's what the referee's there for. It's not for the corner to stop. It's only when the referee's not jumping in and the guy's taking some punishment and he's getting so much of a beating and the referee's not doing nothing. You have to throw it in and fuck this. I'm not waiting around. That wasn't the case.
Well, what would have happened then in the next 2-3 rounds?
We don't know what happened.
Crawford would have won all the rounds, but he would have
Well,
knocked him out.
if he would have won all the rounds, fair enough. But we don't know what would have happened. But the fact of the matter is, he was stopped too early, and I don't know what anyone else thinks. That's something that I don't know. Now he's retired, but that's a shadow on the fight. That's like
Yeah, I
saying
mean,
when Errol Spence dropped him and he got up and he's like, oh, whatever. If that was the second time, if Kenny Porter jumped in, say for example, Errol Spence dropped him twice, and that was the second time he dropped him, and he threw a towel in, what would you say then? It was fair to stop the fight.
he got back quickly against Spence.
It doesn't matter, Imran. I mean, Ahmed. The fact of the matter is, they both dropped him, and he let the other fight go. And this one, he should have let go as well because he knew he was going to retire. He wasn't hurt. He wasn't drobbling around the ring. It wasn't like he was, didn't know what he was doing. He had his senses about him. But for some reason, he stopped the fight. So,
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a. To be honest, it was a weird kind of fight, man. It was weird. The ending was really weird. I didn't feel like Crawford really got out of second gear. I don't feel like he was really. Yeah, it was a weird fight, man. It was just weird. Everything about it was a little weird. It wasn't. It was a good fight, but it wasn't the most exciting in the sense that I was expecting more from Porter as well. Porter didn't really maul him like I expected him. You know, I like when I saw him against Thurman, he was literally mauling him. You know what I mean? And whereas I don't think Porter was really mauling him either. Like Porter was boxing. It was like, yeah, I
It's
expected
like,
more from both guys, but you know, Crawford managed to get that
you,
finish in the end. You know, which obviously is was the ending. But yeah, it was a bit of a strange one. You know.
you gotta give him a bit of credit because it's the second time now a fighter has said, I don't know what to do in there because Cal Brook was like, I couldn't get my punches off, and now Shawn Porter is saying, oh, he's different, he is different. So he is a different. He's a good fighter. No one's saying that. No one's saying he's a bad fighter and he was losing and he's a crap fighter. But what we're saying is that he needs to he needs to step up, go fight Ugas and go fight Errol Spence now. And if he does beat them guys, then Ahmed is gonna come on and gonna say, yeah, Ahmed, fair enough, you were right. But
Yeah.
right by now, you can't say nothing. You just gotta stay quiet, Ahmed.
No, you got to give Crawford credit, and you got to give credit where credit's due, and it's not about staying quiet. It's
The only
about saying
no
what you feel.
problem is credit would have been better if Kenny Porter left it go on it. If he let go 12 rounds and he won on the points or something, then we would have said, all right, fair enough. It was a tough fight. He wasn't his best performance. Got the job done. Dropped him twice. Whatever. Because Kenny
Now,
Porter,
now,
you with me,
now,
Stephen?
now, yeah.
He
What I
would
was
have
gonna say.
he would have kept
Go ahead.
getting dropped.
Go on, Stephen.
Well, what I was gonna say was, if it been different if Terence Crawford had dominated Shawn Porter up until up until the knockdown, then I would have said, okay, you taking enough punishment. It's time to stop the fight.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the case. He was actually losing the fight. Do you
This
understand
is,
what I'm saying? He was
that's what
He
I'm
wasn't
saying.
he
I said,
wasn't
losing.
losing. He was up on the cards. Crawford was up
look,
on the cards back a couple of rounds before
No,
the knockdowns.
this was this is what I said to Imran
no,
when by beating Shawn Porter like this, even if he went 12 rounds, like Stephen is saying, he didn't do anything that was unexpected of him. We know he's a top fighter. What we're saying is, because when Shawn Porter went in with Errol Spence, yes, it was a closer fight. Because in my eyes, in my opinion anyway, Errol Spence let it be a closer fight because he just wanted to fucking knock Shawn Porter out. Because these guys are friends, maybe that animosity wasn't there as much because they were hugging and kissing after, you know. So that can go into play as well if someone doesn't want to go the extra yard and doesn't want to give the extra punch or something. So it was a different type of fight. But like Steven's saying, it was okay performance. We're not gonna go start shouting at the top of the trees that Crawford's the best. And Crawford's gonna go and beat everyone now. But got the job done. But not a lot of questions were answered basically.
yeah,
There's
not a
still
lot of questions were answered.
Well,
And
yeah.
Don
no,
Dada keeps saying, Don Dada said that it's better to stop the fight early than to stop it too late. Man, listen, man. What point don't you get, man? Listen, he it was an early premature stoppage. He wasn't hurt that bad. Now, if he was hurt bad and he was just he was leaning, he was just wobbling, then you stop the fight. But
like
he wasn't hurt that bad.
when Cal Brook got hurt, even like Cal Brook was quite hurt a lot. But even at the time, I thought, what the fuck? He's not that hurt. What the fuck to stop the fight? Even then, but if you look back at it, Cal Brook was really hurt. But Shawn Porter wasn't hurt at all, man. He was buzzed. Yeah, but okay, he was maybe hurt a bit more than he usually is. Like, usually he jumps up and he's maybe 5% got more energy than he was. But it wasn't something that you think, oh, stop the fight, stop the fight. You can't let it go anymore. Because that's the referee's job, like I said. That's what the referee is there to do. If the referee thinks the fight is in danger, he's not punching back, he's not protecting himself, he'll stop the fight before anyone else. I'm not seeing many referees that will let a fight go. And the second thing, if you go look back in history, a lot of fighters have been hurt. Look at Manny Marquez and Manny Pacquiao's fights. How many times they've been dropped in rounds and got up and he's dropped him 2 times and ended up in a draw? If they were stopped, how would we know what would happen in them fights? Do you think that
Mm,
corner didn't want to stop? Do you think when the kids got dropped 2 times, 3 times? I can't remember in one round. Do you think his corner didn't want to jump in and say, oh, "Fuck that, protect him"?
yeah, true. Good point. Yeah.
So you gotta let these fights go. That's how these fights become classics or become good fights. Like look at Tyson Fury now. He got dropped twice. He was hurt in that fight against Wilder. Yeah, maybe he was near the end of the round, but if they stopped it there, what would happen then? Or going back to his first fight when he got up, everyone thought he was knocked out. If they stopped it there, the referee wiped it off and he didn't get up. The outcome could have been different. You get what I'm trying to say? You gotta let these
Mm,
fights go, especially when some of the guys not even hurt as bad as certain fighters.
Well,
good point. Yeah.
we just need Errol Spence to just sign the contract now.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Hopefully that fight happens, man. Hopefully that fight happens. We need that fight to happen. Um. Yeah. The fight needs to happen, man. It's getting kind of boring.
He said, Don Dada said, don't get me wrong, I would like the fight to continue, but we all saw that we all saw what was coming. You guys just wanted Porter to leave on a stretcher. Man, he wasn't
Never,
gonna
man.
leave on.
I know. Go on, Steven.
Uh, he wasn't gonna leave on no stretcher, man. What are you talking about, man? He was never hurt to the point that his health was in jeopardy. We didn't even get to see that because they stopped the fight too early. What the hell, man? What are you talking about?
But,
I don't even understand.
Steven, like if you go down twice in a round, you didn't see something is wrong, isn't it?
Twice in a round.
I mean, he was hurt a little more. But I've seen fighters. I've seen them when there's no knockdown rule. I've seen fighters get hurt get up over and over and over again. It doesn't really mean anything. That you taking a bunch of punishment to the back of the head, or you taking punishment that you should just a relentless beating. But he
Oscar
didn't even get a
Valdez
chance.
fought with a broken jaw for how many rounds? Is that who's hurt more, Shawn Porter or Oscar Valdez?
I do think Porter was about to get knocked out, though. I do. I don't think Porter looked right, man.
So it's okay for some fighters to get knocked out.
Just Crawford just didn't look. He just didn't look. Porter just didn't look right to me, man. He looked like he was all over the place. Like he didn't look right. Like he looked like his head was all over the place. He just didn't look right to me, man.
Yeah. He didn't look right, man. We never seen him put down 2 times. But the fact of the matter was he was lucid. He was aware of everything that was going on. He was even banging his fist on the ground like, damn, I need to do better. We didn't even see him make any adjustments because they called the fight too early. So we really don't know what would have happened. Earlier I said maybe that is a possibility. I'm more inclined to believe that he